Good evening. This Wednesday, June 26, 2024 meeting of the Richmond Advisory Plan Commission is called to order. Would you please call the roll?
Len Clark. Michael Devine.
Here.
Matt Evans.
Here.
Joe Price.
Here.
Justin Scheiben.
Here.
Greg Steens. Rob Tidrow. Gary Turner.
Here.
Tiana Washington.
Here.
Bruce Whistle.
Here. We do have 7 members present, which is enough for a quorum, and we are able to conduct business. Members should have received the minutes of the May 22nd meeting in their packets. Do we have any correction or addition to those minutes? If not, Chair will accept a motion.
I move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion, pardon me,
And a second.
and a second. We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of May 22nd as received. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Before we go to proof of publication, I do want to ask Mr. Purvis about the new addition to your family. Go ahead and make your public announcement on that.
Thank you. My wife and I had a son on June 3rd. His name's Lewin Oliver Purvis, and he's keeping us up at night, but he's healthy. Mom's doing well.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, if he has trouble sleeping, you can turn on reruns of this meeting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And mother and child both doing well.
Yes.
Great, thanks. Proof of public notice.
Thank you. This notice was published in advance. It states the time, date, place, and the item on the agenda for tonight's hearing. This notice is in order to hold the public hearing, and I would ask the board, the commission, to make a motion to accept the proof of publication.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the proof of public notice. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We have a piece of old business on the agenda. Well, first, I guess we need to strike the, no, we're keeping ordinance 32, aren't we? I'm sorry. We have one piece of old business and one new business tonight. The old business is ordinance 1, 2024, which is approving resolution 1, 2024, and amending declaratory resolution of the Richmond Redevelopment Commission to allow the expenditure of revenues collected within Richmond's tax incremental finance, or TIF district, for public safety services within said districts. And would you please speak to this?
Good evening, Beth Fields, Director of Strategic Initiatives. I appreciate the opportunity to come before you tonight to seek approval of the Plan Commission Order 1, 2024. This is a declaratory resolution of the Richmond Redevelopment Commission, which was approved by that commission on May 14th of this year. Last year, House Enroll Act 1454, which became effective July 1st of 2023, gave redevelopment commissions permission to spend their tax increment financing on public safety expenditures. These expenditures can be capital or operational in nature. So before the Redevelopment Commission can begin using these TIF funds for public safety expenditures, the Redevelopment Commission must first amend their development plan to make this an eligible expense at the local level. The Redevelopment Commission's development plan is its spending guide and is based on the policies and strategies that are identified in Richmond Rising, the city's comprehensive plan. The Richmond Redevelopment Commission, through Resolution 1, 2024, has started the process to amend its development plan to allow for these public safety expenditures. The only modification to the plan at this time is the addition of item number 10, public safety, which reads, funding to assist with a police and law enforcement system to preserve peace and order in a firefighting and fire prevention system. The Redevelopment Commission respectfully requests that you approve Plan Commission Order 1, 2024. After this is approved, it will then move to Common Council, who will be asked to adopt a resolution approving the Plan Commission Order. The Redevelopment Commission will then advertise and hold a public hearing on the resolution and an amending declaratory resolution. After the public hearing, the Redevelopment Commission will consider an amending confirmatory resolution. Once approved, this resolution will be recorded with the county recorder and delivered to the county auditor and then submitted to the Department of Local Government Finance via Gateway, which is the state transparency portal. I also have, per the request of the commission, a very brief, high-level overview of tax incremental financing. And so I believe you have copies of that, and then we also have some slides here to share. But basically, tax incremental financing, it's a tool which captures the increase in the assessed value from new development. And it can capture real property, or also in some cases, it's also depreciable personal property. And it also can capture increases in multifamily condominiums, and if the area is designated single-family residential property as well. So when we look at what is the purpose of a TIF, basically it's to finance incentives and infrastructure that are needed to induce private investment. So we want to encourage that orderly economic growth within our targeted areas, and we want to also redevelop those blighted areas that we may have in our community. When you look at the mechanics of how a TIF works, this diagram is a very basic picture of how all of that works. You have your base assessed value there at the bottom. That is what the assessed value was the day that the tax increment financing went into effect. Those taxes stay with all of the overlapping tax districts at that time, but over the course of the time that the tax increment financing district is in effect, that increased increment comes to the Redevelopment Commission so that they can utilize that for incentives and for other projects that are needed to encourage economic development. Once the tax increment financing area expires, then all of that new AV that has been collected and that is still being collected then is distributed to all of the overlapping tax districts. We have 4 tax increment financing districts. The first one is Johns Manville, and that is a single payer TIF, and that expires in October of 2036. We have our allocation area 1, which is our largest tax increment financing district, which includes our downtown and our Midwest Industrial Park. That expires in January of 2040. Our Heartland tax increment financing district is another single payer TIF, which was for the Blue Buffalo project. That expires in May of 41. And then the newest one that we have is the 6th and Main for the project that will be coming to you next in the ordinance for the vacation. And that one will expire in January of 49. So the last slide just lists some of those permitted uses for the tax increment financing district. It needs to be a project that is directly serving or benefiting the designated redevelopment area. It does not necessarily have to be within the boundaries of that area, but the project does need to serve and benefit that area. Needs to be listed in the plan, which is what we're coming to you tonight to amend so that we can include public safety in that plan as well. So I am happy to answer any questions that you might have regarding the amendment of the plan or the basic TIF information.
Do you have any questions for Mrs. Fields? Okay, thank you, Beth. See, it's a resolution, so there will not be any public discussion on it. Any discussion on the board? Any questions that anyone has or contributions you want to make? If not, the chair will accept a motion.
I move to approve Resolution 1, 2024.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve Order 1, 2024. All those in favor say, or I'm sorry, you want to call the roll on that, don't you?
Michael Devine,
Aye.
Matt Evans,
Aye.
Joe Price,
Aye.
Justin Scheiben,
Aye.
Gary Turner,
Aye.
Tiana Washington,
Aye.
Bruce Whistle.
Aye. So it does pass 7-0. Thank you. Now we move on to new business. We have one item, ordinance 32, 2024, is the petition of the City of Richmond requesting to vacate a portion of a dedicated public way or street known as South Service Drive, located south of 601 East Main Street, parcel ID 8918052040500030, and north of 0 South 6th Street, parcel ID 891805220406000030, and 34 South 7th Street, parcel ID 891805220411000030. Ms. Fields.
Ordinance 32, 2024 will vacate the portion of the dedicated public way known as South Service Drive as described by Commissioner Whistle. And this vacation is needed for the development of 6th and Main, which is a $44 million, 150-unit market rate apartment complex. This is being built on the parcels where the former Elder Beerman department store and the two city parking lot parcels to the south of the building exist today. This vacated public way will be merged with these other lots into a single parcel for the project. This project is being developed by Flaherty and Collins, who are working with American Structure Point on the building design. Schematic designs of the project are expected to be completed in late August of this year, with construction of the project beginning in 2025. We have had conversations with Three Rivers Federal Credit Union, which is the only adjacent property owner that is not the City of Richmond, regarding this project. They are in support, and you do have a letter in your packet with them expressing the fact that they are agreeing to forego any portion of the vacated land that they would have been entitled to had they not done that. And I am happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Questions for Mrs. Field? Thank you, Beth. Okay, ordinance 32, 2024 is on public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak on this ordinance? If not, public hearing is closed, and we will go to the staff report.
Thank you, President Whistle. Ordinance 32 is a petition of the City of Richmond as the adjacent owner of a public way that's located south of 601 East Main Street and north of 0 South 6th Street and 34 South 7th Street, requesting a vacation of a portion of a dedicated public right-of-way known as South Service Drive. Current use is public street, and the tract size is approximately 0.153 acres. Adjacent zoning in all directions is central business. Adjacent land use to the north is commercial, which is vacant, the former Elder Beerman building. To the south is a parking lot and commercial savings and loan. To the east is a parking garage, and to the west is parking lot and commercial full-service bank. The proposed vacation of right-of-way would result in the acquisition of the vacated portion of South Service Drive located between South 6th and South 7th Streets by the adjacent parcel to the north. Ultimately, the parcel acquiring the vacated way will be merged with the two adjacent properties along South 6th Street as part of the redevelopment of the former Elder Beerman site. Three Rivers Federal Credit Union is the adjacent property owner to the southeast of the right-of-way and has agreed to forego any portion of the vacated land in which they would otherwise be entitled. On June 12, 2024, 17 adjacent property owners were notified about the petition by mail. We didn't receive any responses. On June 13th, the public hearing was advertised in Western Wayne News. And on June 13th, a sign was placed next to the right-of-way notifying passersby of the June 26th public hearing. Planning staff consulted with all city departments and utilities to determine any objections based on public health and safety. No safety objections were raised. Staff recommends approving the vacation of South Service Drive between South 6th and South 7th Streets as platted in John Smith's original town plat and Caleb Bond's addition based on the following criteria. Number one, the extent to which the vacation would hinder the growth and orderly development of the community in which it is located or contiguous to. The proposed vacation is directly related to the growth and orderly development of the contiguous downtown area, as the vacation will allow the 3 adjacent lots to merge into a single parcel for the future 150-unit market rate apartment development. Number 2, the vacation would not make access to lands owned by others by means of a public way difficult or inconvenient, because East Main Street and South 8th Street currently serve as the primary means of connectivity between South 6th and South 7th Streets, which will remain unchanged. Based on the current design concept for the Elder Bierman property, the vacated right-of-way would provide residents of the proposed apartments with access to the development's private parking lot from South 7th Street. Number 3, the vacation would not hinder the public's access to a church, school, or other public building or place, because as noted in criterion number 2, the right-of-way under consideration is not a primary thoroughfare for vehicles or pedestrians navigating the downtown area, and its vacation will not reduce access to public amenities. And number 4, the vacation would not hinder the use of public ways by the neighborhood in which it is located or to which it is contiguous, because as stated in prior criteria, the right-of-way under consideration does not function as a primary point of connectivity for travelers or nearby residents. There are no written commitments, and I'd be happy to address any questions you all may have.
Any questions for Mr. Purvis? Thank you, Mr. Purvis. Okay, discussion.
A lot to talk about.
Okay.
Seems pretty simple to me. I'm not sure why I got bounced out from council, but all right.
Okay, thank you. Nice to have some discussion then. If there's no questions, we will accept a motion.
I move to approve ordinance 32, 2024.
Second that.
Ordinance 32, 2024. We have a motion to accept and a second. Would you please call the roll on that?
Michael Devine,
Aye.
Matt Evans,
Aye.
Joe Price,
Aye.
Justin Scheibin,
Aye.
Gary Turner,
Aye.
Tiana Washington,
Aye.
Bruce Whistler.
Aye. Our recommendation has passed on a 7-0. Or no, we make the final decision on that, don't we?
This is a recommendation to council.
Oh, to council, okay, fine. Okay, so that has passed. Today was the deadline for filing for the next meeting. We have a pretty heavy schedule for next month, don't we?
We do, yes. That includes a revised version of the South 37th Street plan development that you all heard earlier this year.
Okay, and what else have you got? The Fudge Factory?
We have the rezone for the Fudge Factory on the far east side of town. We have a 5-lot subdivision on South 23rd Street, and we have secondary replat for the Eagle Trace subdivision on the far west side of the city.
Okay, what's your recommendation on that? Do you want to do that in one evening, or?
I would. Oh, we do have to.
I think there might be a statute, I'd have to double check that, but I think there's a statute that says you have to have that go to your council and then your plan commission within so many days.
Okay,
If we get that on for the July,
If we
We
did it
don't
on,
have it on our July 1st, so council won't
it'll be July
have it introduced until July 14th.
14th.
Throw it into the first meeting in August rather than our next immediate meeting.
okay. Well,
Statute, yeah.
well, I was talking about maybe doing a Wednesday and then a Thursday.
Well, the way this is gonna work out, I think we can do we can probably have Eagle Trace because it's a secondary, and we can certainly have the rezoning at our next immediate meeting. And then pick up 37th Street, first meeting in August.
Okay.
I think 37th Street is on a strict timeline. I think that
Well, then
And Beth might be able to
They
speak
should
to
have
that
gotten
better.
on the council's agenda for this next Monday night. It's not too late to amend
Council agenda?
council agenda. As president, I authorize an amendment, so have it amended tomorrow, and that way we can hear it.
Okay, I'm thinking the 37th Street project's going to take quite a while.
It will, yeah.
And I I don't know about the fudge factory there. There's been some discussion, different ways on that.
I wouldn't anticipate that one being too controversial or bringing in too much of a crowd, but
Okay.
it's hard to say for
The
sure.
the Eagle Trace, you're right, that's just a yes or no on that. We can't make any amendments
Right,
or,
that's right.
and there's no discussion unless it hasn't followed the
Original.
decisions
Yeah.
made in the first one.
And that will not be a public hearing either. The Eagle Trace.
Yeah. You want to go for it in one evening? Is that, what's the pleasure of the board there? It'd be, I think it'd be,
suspect that 37th Street's going to take at least a couple hours.
I would
just
think
for
so
that
too.
alone.
I mean, we could do the same thing where if we need to, we can impose time limits on any speakers.
We need to,
We're gonna have to.
believe me.
Absolutely, it'll still go for 2 hours.
Yeah, so we're probably looking at a 3-hour plus night, I would guess. I've been here as late as midnight, so.
Well, we start early, so
Oh, that's right. We started 5:30. That was when we started at 7.
we'll be done by 8:30.
Eat dinner before you
Right,
come.
exactly.
Okay, we'll just plan on the one meeting then. Great. Anything else to be brought up before the commission? If not, Chair will accept a motion.
I will second the motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.